Greetings, everybody, and welcome to episode 58 of the Sickcast, aka the Siblings in Cardboard podcast. I'm your host, Donnie, joined by my buddies, Thomas, Noah, and returning to us again after a hiatus to parts unknown, unless he wants to share. Coming back is Justin.
I was in Japan. It's okay.
Okay,
Yeah, we can say that
I
I was there.
didn't want to say. I was going to let
Yeah.
you have your
No,
thunder,
it's fine. It's
but
fine. Yeah. Unfortunately, wasn't there for the actual event. We planned this well before we knew about Worlds, but we still went, had a good time. Caught an armory while I was there. Went 5-0. Had fun. It was awesome. Really, really enjoyed the trip. But yeah,
as you do. Yeah,
yeah.
just randomly show up, casually 5-0 an armory, leave.
It was crazy that I needed to 5-0. Like we had too many people. They literally had to like turn people away over there. It was like I think the final count was like 29,
Oh,
28,
neat.
29 for an armory on like a random Thursday.
That's
That's
awesome.
nuts.
Card games are
That's good.
serious business in Japan.
Yeah. He had like a bunch of people show up early to it too. It was really, really cool. It happened at like a bar. I got like kind of wasted in the middle of round three and just had a great time.
Yeah, I like the layout. You sent a picture. The layout looked really nice. It's like you could almost grab a drink in the middle of a game because
Yes.
the way the bar spanned the length of the card store.
Yeah. And the guy who runs the bar is also the owner. And so like you just kind of look over at him and he's like, he was just like the nicest guy in the world. I'm trying to remember the name of the store. I want to say the name of the store was Blue Piece. It was Blue Piece in Tokyo.
Cool.
And
Okay.
yeah, it was a great time. Can't say enough good things about that place.
Then
Well,
continue.
Yeah.
Say more good things about that place because I want to hear it, and I want to hear everything. I
About
want to hear about the whole trip to Japan. I mean, we'll get to how everybody else's weekend went over in Japan, but I want to know about your trip. So what all did you do?
our trip was great. I mean, it was our first time there, so we did the normal like Kyoto, Osaka, Tokyo. You go see a bunch of shrines. You're gonna go see a bunch of really cool historical things there that are awesome. Castles are literally all over all three towns. The food's incredible. Any place that has a line is worth the wait. And if like the line is dying down a little bit, you just go in anyway. So you're just like, this is worth it. Any street food vendor is good because everybody like specializes in like if you go to a restaurant, they only do like one thing. It's not like they do like ramen and takoyaki and tsukemen. It's like I just do ramen.
mhm.
And so if for them to survive, it's always a banger. Food was great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tokyo, Japan in general is one of my bucket list locations. Somewhere that I know I'm going to go at some point in my life. It's just
Hmm.
I've got to figure out how to get from A to B
Yeah.
and make it actually happen because it's like nerd mecca.
Yeah.
At some point, if you're a nerd, you've got to go to Japan at some point.
Yeah. And it was really funny like going there, especially that armory, because I caught a couple of like Europeans and North Americans who were like starting their prep.
Oh,
And it's really
nice.
funny whenever you say that, like you talk to somebody, you're like, yeah, I'm not competing in the event, I'm leaving. Suddenly, like every like guard they had just went down, and they're like, yeah, we're playing this, 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 and this because of this, 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 and this. And it was like really funny to see and interesting. So like got
Cool.
a little foresight into how like people were planning on playing the event. So, but yeah, it was awesome. Like really, really cool time. That armory was awesome, and everybody over there was super welcoming and inviting.
Mm. Glad to see you
Um,
back safe and sound.
Yeah,
Def-
glad to be
Yes.
back.
Definitely glad to see you back.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, yeah, I guess I'll talk about this part now. Uh, yeah, Week in Flesh and Blood, right? What have we done?
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. We had an armory on Tuesday night. It was awesome. I had a really, really good time. But that wasn't the important part to me. The important part was that while I was gone, I had a house fire. Freak accident. Just I had a mini fridge that was plugged in. We don't know the actual source of it, but they think it was a mini fridge plugged into a surge protector that was rated for it, but we don't actually know. Um, Everyone's okay. Nobody died. No pets died. Nothing like that. But uh, the where the fire started is where all my cards were. So I lost my collection. I actually went back there over the weekend, and I was able to preserve one card. There's one card that was still in like good shape, and it was the bark skin of the Millennium Tree, the Earth piece, the Earth
Hmm.
chest.
I mean, that's a
So
good
I
one to
have
keep.
that. actually, the only reason why it made it through was because of a deck box that somebody else gave me, like protected it and like encapsulated it and like made it safe, which was awesome.
Interesting.
That's good.
Yeah, yeah. But so I lost everything besides that one card and the 80 cards that I brought with me. And um, our community is so awesome. I'm really, really lucky to have you guys in my life. I really, really am. And when I show up on Tuesday, the guys there, they have three things. The first one is a card here saying that they're happy to see me, or I guess that they're happy that I'm alive. Everybody signed it. I got a binder here to hold cards in, and they gave me this box as well. And both of these are full. They have uh, basically every common and rare, a lot of the Majestics, promos, things that are very sentimental to me. I'm a huge Frostbite fan. There's a Cold Full Frostbite in there. Um, I just way too sentimental and way too meaningful stuff. And I am very, very thankful for all of you guys. And here the list. It's a lot of people, but this is everybody who either signed the card or has sent me cards over the process of all of this. So this is my thank you to all of you.
Go for it.
We got Travis, Jeremy. They organized most of it. Thank you to them. Randall, everybody on this podcast. So Donnie, Thomas, Noah. A bunch of the locals now. It's Mason, Chris, Andrew Lorenz, Skylar, Jorge, Evan, Jose. Zach Jensen is a local-ish. He is across town. And then I had people who I have never really interacted with also send me cards and like help me out and just like give me the advice. Like I was given a really good tip on how to like salvage the value of my cards with my insurance. And it seems like I'll be able to get most of the value of my collection back. So shout out to Robert from Second Cycle and then Green Tree Sports Cards. They have both sent me stuff and given me great advice. So we talk about the Fab community being awesome, and we talk about the Fab community being a family and all of that. And yeah, I cried a bunch. It was really, really sentimental. And you guys, you guys are stuck with me. I can't go anywhere else. I have no one else I'd want to be with for the rest of my life.
Where's my ring, man?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I got to get one of those for everybody.
And at least a candlelight dinner, right?
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll start cutting a bunch of like white border cards and just like staple them together, and everybody gets a ring. Okay, that's what we're doing.
Okay, so how many white border Kano cards did you end up with?
You know what? So everybody who knows me knows that I really don't like white border cards, but I will play every single one of these white border cards, like without fail, because these are like my most prized possessions now. Like
Well,
these are the things that I treasure the most, and
you'll know
I
that
hope,
if you have a white border card, someone gave it to you.
yes, I hope one day to win a tournament with these cards that people gave me, because that is more important than anything else at this point. Like that is my goal. I'm trying to figure out which hero I'm going to win a tournament with cards that people gave me, and that's it. Like
It's gonna be Jarl.
it means
As soon as Jarl comes out, it's gonna be Jarl.
yeah, I might be back on. Bill might be back on my grind for that one, but I don't know. Like these are the most important things to me at this point. Is you guys and what you guys have done for me, and I cannot say enough like thank yous in that regard. It's been a blessing. I've been really, really blessed to know you guys. Still know you guys and be with you all.
Likewise, you're a treasure,
Thank you.
man.
It's a
Yeah.
privilege, man. I mean, not to get too sappy and emotional, because I will cry on this podcast. I'm not ashamed.
Mhm.
But I mentioned it. I mentioned it on Tuesday when I came back from my hiatus, and on my first armory back, it was a lot of people showed up as well, and people said that so I don't remember who it was. Somebody said that I was made a joke that I was a linchpin of the community, but Justin, that's you, dude. I mean, you are one of the cornerstones of our local community, and it was a privilege being able to contribute something like this to help you out. I mean, it was. Again, I don't want to get too sappy because, like I said, I will cry, but
Yeah,
we love you. Glad to have you.
Yeah,
I mean, really.
and I love you guys. I really appreciate all of you. And yeah, it's a lot. I'm kind of emotionally burned at this point. I've just been going up and down on emotions, but you guys are awesome, and like my wife and I can't say enough good things about you guys. And we've talked about like all of our different friend groups and the different phases of our lives, and just like this is far and away the best friend group we have.
Good.
We're
You
very
need to
thankful.
introduce her to us. That way she can learn how to play Flesh and Blood.
Oh
Flesh
my
and Blood is
goodness! And she,
family.
dude, the best part is she acts like Aurora. Like she's just a little
Mhm.
shit, and I love her.
Oh,
And
nice.
so yeah, so like me have the 80 cards that I brought over to Japan was Aurora. So it's like that was like a kind of cute little sentimental thing as well. But yeah, I want to teach her Aurora and just have her show up to an armory and just absolutely style on people, and like that is just
Oh,
like a
okay.
dream of mine. So that is something that may or may not happen in the future.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Absolutely looking. I've been thinking a lot about trying to teach my oldest daughter how to play and see if I can drag her out with me on a Tuesday. It's just, she's still in school, so it's a Tuesday night, and trying to get her home before midnight would be kind of tricky, and get her up at 6 in the morning after that would be kind of tricky. But I mean,
Yeah.
I think she would enjoy it if I could actually get her to sit down and try it. I mean, because she likes a lot of the same nerd things that I like. She's into anime. She's in she plays Pokemon. I mean, she collects Pokemon cards. So I'm trying to get that transition going. But maybe one of these days I'll be able to get her coming out with us too.
You'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. Yeah.
So-
Wipe my eyes after that.
Yeah.
Anybody else? How was everybody else's week in Flesh and
I
Blood?
was at the armory too. I actually had a good armory. I went
Didn't you take it
undefeated.
down?
So
Oh yeah, that's right. You won. Forgot about that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was.
I did dash IO things. I don't know what else to say. Sometimes I feel a little hesitant playing that deck in locals now because I am very skilled on it from just repetition and brute force. But it does the same thing Kano does sometimes, and that's the only reason I don't feel bad playing it on Tuesdays, because I know you guys would be Kano gamers if the books hadn't gotten banned. But sometimes, like you play the Spark of Genius, you put the Cerebellum out, and you go, you look at the top card of your deck and the card that you drew, and you go, oh, well, I guess I win.
Yeah.
Because then you do another Spark of Genius and crank a Boom Grenade off the top and put another Cerebellum out, and then you just pop off and have like a 35, 40 point turn out of nowhere. And yeah, and just like with Kano, sometimes you just see the person go, well, what
Yeah.
can
Well, that
you
just
do? Yeah, and I think Dash.io had a pretty good week overall once we get into discussing Worlds of Sokka, right?
Probably
Yeah.
too good. Yeah.
I wouldn't
I would
say,
say that.
too good. She didn't take home the Living Legend points,
We'll get there.
Technically.
We'll get there.
Technically.
but she had a good rep, and the data shows that of the highly represented decks, she was very strong. So, my girl did well. I'm really happy Dash.io is strong in the meta, at least for a single tournament, depending on the ban restricted announcements that happen on November 12th, which is a little over a week from now. We'll see.
We'll find out.
Yeah, I feel like there's going to be some interesting conversation when we get to the top 8 and everything, because my girl did well too, and there was some feelings in our Discord channel for our local game store, specifically coming from one person who is on my screen sitting to my right. So anyway,
Listen, I'm blessed to have you guys in my life, and that's all the blessings I need. Let's put it that way.
CYB, Count Your Blessings, is
we're gonna
definitely a card that you could put in your deck.
it is
Yeah.
a card that exists in Flesh and Blood. Yes, it is.
And you can
It
put
is.
it in a lot of decks.
Mhm.
Apparently.
Mhm.
Yep. So, yeah.
Well,
But-
it works. We'll talk about it. I think it works.
Let's knock this post Worlds Market Minute out and jump in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, let's hear about
dude.
that. Let's hear about your awesome specs, Noah, because
All right.
you killed it last week.
Well, I
Congratulations
tell
on
you
your
guys,
40 flame scale furnaces.
I don't have 40 flame scale furnaces. I never jumped in on it. No. So
No.
check this out.
You
You gotta
made a
understand.
ton of money.
Sometimes I'm not even quick on my own. This one came way faster than I expected. The ice I didn't jump too big on. Flame scale furnace I did not jump as big on as I wanted to. Now I have since then really dug deep and thought about it, and I've speculated for the beyond. But I did pick up 30 copies of a card, actually like 38 copies of a card, but you're not going to guess what card it is. Well, I guess because it could be, it is a chess piece.
It's
Is it
chess
redback
piece.
Shroud?
Blazing your Roy.
It is
Courage of
redback
Blade?
trout.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I was about
redback,
to say it's
okay,
probably
okay,
redback
okay.
trout.
And I said, you know what? I said, boy, oh boy, if this game doesn't like to make cards good at some point. That's the key word there, is at some point. It'll be worth it there some point, okay? Just like I never thought I'd see Knives Out and Stab Wound ever hit the prices that they hit, okay? That's right. Knife Wound is just, it's okay. I know. Knives Out. I know. I never thought it either. There's a chance for everything. So,
That's
Sorry,
'cause
I
of
was thinking
Ira.
you said Flick Knives.
well,
Well,
Flick Knives
Knives
went
Out
up
is the
too.
blue, right?
Knives Out is
Mhm.
the blue block 3 that says daggers get +1 this turn. Stab Wound is deal damage equal to how much more or how much daggers hit this turn. But
when it hits,
there's
lose life equal to the number
yeah,
of daggers
lose life
that hit
equal
this
to the
turn.
number of daggers that hit this turn. It's
Oh, that's good.
there's some good things that are happening here with some of these cards with it. There's too many, guys. I mean, to be honest, like you can pick Mask Momentum went up. You know, Flick Flack's gonna go up. Anything that's Ninja Bittering Thorns, which is on the list, I think, because it went up again. Like you name it, if it's Draconic right now, it went up. Man.
So all
All right,
the
let's
Ira
just-
stuff went up. All the Draconic Ninja stuff went up. All the Draconic
Yeah, let's
generic.
just go through. Yeah, among other things that just don't make any sense as to why they'd be going as high as they are. But here we are. You know what I mean? Here we are in this.
I bet Tome of Imperial Flame popped off.
It went to almost like $80, I want to say, instantly, and then it like fell back down. I know that because my foils sold for 70 a piece, and I was just like, wait,
Whoa.
what? I was like, what's going on here?
Dude,
and then I was
I
like,
remember like we thought
okay.
those were expensive at like 25 to 30 a piece. We're like, holy crap,
Yeah,
these are
no,
pricey.
they
I'm so
definitely
glad
hit
I
a
don't care about
spike.
this set.
They,
I'm so
same.
glad. LSS
There's-
has had targeted ads for a year at me, and I'm so glad to get a
yeah.
set off.
who has two thumbs and doesn't care about Draconic? This guy.
I
Or
slightly
80
care about
different
this set.
arachnes.
Oh yeah, well yeah, and then arachne related stuff went up too.
Yeah.
Some of it, but let's just dive in. There's going to be a lot. So Tome of Imperial Flame did at one point. It went all the way up to, and I want to get a confirmation on what some of the highest ones that we're selling for. Yeah, so $70 normals sold on Halloween. That's right, $70 normal cards. So not foil. I remember because I was on WoW with Nathan, and I was like, do you have I wonder if you have like a ton of tomes. He's like, oh, I got quite a few. And I said, well, congratulations. I said, because they're through the roof. I said, they're just huck them now. They were like top end 74, $80. And so they're sitting right now at 45 for a normal, but that's the last one. It's actually 50 with shipping. And then it jumps to 55 for light blade. Rainbow foils are $74 right now.
I feel like this is a little cart before the horse. Tome of Imperial
What?
Flame is good, but no one played it in Fi. Why is anyone going to play it in these other heroes?
Because they start
Um,
royal. They are naturally royal.
Yeah, they're
Does that
naturally
make it
royal.
worth it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you get to use whatever headpiece you want. You don't have to use the Crown of Dominion.
It
Right.
lets
They
you run
start
more
royal.
redline because the thing being a blue that you can just tuck in arsenal, right? Like that was the thing that Dromai did with it, and obviously it made Ash and did all the other things. But it's a blue that you can just tuck in
Yeah, it
arsenal, and now you
is.
just get the gas.
Yeah, you can put it in Arsenal.
So it's really funny, by the way, that you said they start royal. This
Regicide?
crown went through the roof too.
Dude,
Look,
apparently
Do people-
Unsheathed went up.
Unsheathed went up,
Should-
Blade Flurry
Yeah, it's a
went
sword
up.
card.
Hold on.
That card says
Unsheathed
sword.
Unsheathed going up is hilarious because Unsheathed
says
says
swords.
swords, and this is a daggers set.
It will be.
Because people can't read.
We're gonna Quicksilver Dagger has had things on it as well because it is a warrior related dagger for the dagger warrior. I think it's gonna be a draconic dagger warrior. So there's been looks at that as well. But no, Crown of Dominion actually went up. It went up to $50. It's 55 for the lowest rainbow foil, and then it jumps quickly to 65 and 70. So Crown went up like $40, and they all start royal. But let me tell you, it still went up. Wow.
Maybe people are cooking with royal pie.
I just love the fact that there's going to be 2 heroes that will probably be meta relevant, because so far LSS has been pretty good at making heroes at least playable. And there's going to be this card in the game that says those 2 heroes die instantly.
Regicide.
So,
yeah.
speaking of Regicide, the extended art, now this is not the blackout version. I'll check that in a second. I'm sure that's through the roof, but that's for like the collectors. Regicide, the extended art rainbow foil was $3 on Halloween. Anybody want to guess what it is right now?
15.
I'm gonna guess 20.
30.
30 exactly. It's $30. It
Wow.
is a $30
Wow.
extended art. Regicide is a $30 rainbow foil. I want you to understand that. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's where we're at right now. Welcome to
I
Flesh
mean-
and Blood, where just last week we put him in a tier list that said goodbye. And now they say, oh man, okay.
Blackout doubled in price.
Blackout's $243. So that means that they bought them out completely. They're giving it the alternate art channel like frigid treatment right now.
There's
Somebody
only
bought
4 of
out.
them at that price. They jump up to 300 after that.
Yeah.
And start
So
moving steadily upward.
welcome to Flesh and Blood, where it's peaks and valleys out here. Valiant Dynamo, it's back up. It's $109 right now for a
Yeah.
rainbow foil.
Yeah, for
Everybody
sure.
should have saw this coming.
For sure.
There's a warrior that's going to play it. It's a dual-wield warrior. Grandeur of Valhai, because we just can't stop spoiling heroes, can we? That's right, adult, what's her face?
Valda.
Valda.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
you know damn well Earthlore bounty shot through the roof, and Grandeur of Valhai started coming up. Grandeur of Valhai went up to 164. It is back down now to 120. Oh, no, there's only one. It goes right back up to 164 after 120. That's insane. You remember I told you that card was like plummeting? I think it at low, Grandeur hit $70 or below. It was a $65 cold foil fabled, not Halloween. And it tripled almost in price.
I mean,
Flame Skill
that's
Furnace.
definitely played if Valda
Oh yeah,
stays the same.
100%.
Yeah, but that's a spec that's like 8-10 months out, because we're
Hey.
not getting that until August.
Fab
I
goes
mean,
early.
If you think to yourself, I like Valda, I like the way she plays in Blitz, she's pretty fun, I wish she was in CC, you're gonna play that card. Like,
Sure, but you can wait 4 months when everybody forgets about the hype,
yeah, that's true.
You could, or you could have been
and then
the
you still
guy.
have 4 months left to wait.
Yeah.
You could have been picking up $10 Earthlore bounties before they jumped up to $40. So extended art, cold foil Earthlore bounties are now $40. Flame Scale Furnace is through the roof. It is a $85 rainbow foil, and nobody should have seen this.
That's
I
actually
told
pretty
you.
fair. Isn't that what it was when Dromai was popular? I
Maybe.
feel like that's about what
Maybe.
it was.
Somewhere in that
That's
neighborhood.
Take a
reasonable-ish.
look.
That's around that. I would expect that card
I
to
would
be
say
something like
$80
50
is
to
like on
70.
rate.
Its high was 95.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So
yeah,
it's
it's about on
almost
right.
back up to its its high. Cold foils are selling for 150 right now.
That
Feels
sounds
pretty good. But everybody should have known it was back. I tried to tell you. Flick knives $40, then it jumps up to $50. So relatively $50 arm pieces anytime a new assassin comes out. Shriek Razors hasn't moved yet. I still have plenty of speculations on that. It will move eventually. Don't worry. There's a world where that card is real. If cards like Stab Wound and the other, it's okay. One day Payday is going to be a real card, and believe me, I actually sold some Paydays at prices I never thought possible. So just wait. You'll see. Coercive Tendency is now $10 for a common. Should have seen it coming. Arachne might be viable. Welcome, or common non-foil majestic.
That card's going to be so good.
And Blood of the Drakai is still at $62. It actually went up from the last time we talked about it, and the cold
That
foil's on
blows
the
my
rise.
mind because they literally
So-
printed an attack that does 4 damage and does the same thing as it.
Well, guess what? People like Blood of the Drakai, and yes, they did, and that card is crazy. And we're going to talk about it, as well as that one warrior card they spoiled, which has some Enigma hate attached to it. And I know Josh somewhere is thinking, we got it finally. Maybe we do.
There's
the
only
more
one
damage
card that was
prevention.
spoiled that I care about at all, and it has my brain buzzing. But we'll get to it.
But that's it. I mean, like I said, I could go on and on. In terms of speculations, and in terms of things, guys, ancestral empowerments. If you want them foiled, please get them now. They're like $15 to $20 foils. Glints are going up foils. Blade flurries are $30 foils and like $25 or non foils. Everything that has a warrior attached to it, an assassin attached to it, or a ninja attached to it is going up right now, and it will only go up as spoilers happen, although they're going to hold back the spoilers and do it a little different, which will cause a panic down the road when they finally get
This spoiler
revealed.
setup this time around is perfect, by the way.
I think
Well
it's
done.
great, but
Spoil
I'm
all
just
the
Here's
high
how they
rarity,
should.
keep the low rarity and stuff secret until people show up to do the event.
And,
I
like,
think that's actually cool.
It still does so much because, like, think about trying to build the Earth heroes without cadaverous tilling. Think about trying to build,
Right, you wouldn't know the mechanic.
yeah, or even think about trying
Right.
to build Vincent without Malefic Incantation. That's a rare, right? Or think about trying to build the Lightning heroes without Flittering Charge or Somersault, right? Like, this is still great. It gives all the hype. It gets a lot of excitement, but you're gonna miss some of the glue. It's great.
Yep.
Well done.
Yeah,
I like it.
I like
That's
how
one
they
of the
keep,
cool things
they're
about Flesh and
experimenting. They're experimenting
Yeah.
too. Like we don't know if this is the way they'll always do it. They might say, "Hey, people say they liked it, but we actually found a better experience from everyone doing the commons and letting people find the rares at the event." We'll see. I like that they're willing to try new things, like with every set.
Yeah, I honestly I didn't like the way that they did the Rosetta reveal because I feel like I'm one of the masses that was not able to get to the event itself, so I missed out on a lot of that experience. And I really like the previous spoiler seasons. I like the way that they were giving them out to content creators, and it built hype in the community, not just at that one event. I mean, I'm sure that had to have been an amazing experience. It was probably really cool for everybody that got to go, but I wasn't even able to follow along through most of the event online, so I didn't even get to see it live. I just happened to get random updates on Discord, and that's how I found out. I mean, that wasn't totally different from the previous times, but it just felt worse. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand it.
Yeah, I can understand
no,
that.
I
agree.
think I think the worst part of the way they did it last time is so many content creators had to go, "Oh, this is my spoiler card. It's this common." And
Also that.
and so many of them are just like, "It's a card."
It's hard to get hyped
common.
about spoiling Fertile Ground.
I mean,
Well, like
even
in hindsight,
like
right? You can, but
Malefic.
not.
And Malefic might want to be one of the most impactful cards of the whole set. Malefic Incantation. It's a rare. But are you hyped when you see that card? It just seems like a bread and butter card rather than this like super hype bomb. Like Succumb to Temptation, right? That's a bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Gone in a Flash.
I
Yeah,
saw
or
it
Gone
from
in
both
Flash.
sides because I felt like a lot of the oohs and ahs, like, I mean, granted, obviously it is like you had to be there to experience it, but when people opened up the first fables and like things that they didn't even know existed, it was some of the most like good experience. You know what I mean? Like everybody was just cheering, having a great time. Like it was really electrifying. And so I see an idea for both of those, like one way or the other. But I think having the content creators inevitably spoil like the higher rarity cards, and then you don't know how to use them until you finally sit down and look at the cards is really cool too. Because then you get to start saying, oh, that's how that fits, or oh, that's how you do that, or now this is relevant. And so it's really good. And I think it'll also make people, people are going to speculate, but it's going to be harder to speculate, I think, because you won't know the total outcome. Oh, there is one card I still have to talk about because I actually don't know. Maybe you guys can explain this. Can anybody tell me what you think Codex of Bloodrot is right now?
35, 40?
Nah.
Oh, not that high.
It
No,
didn't,
not that
it
high.
didn't really
But
jump.
Hang on,
I think the
20?
card is good.
the card has steadily went up. Like it's $20 right now, and I find that I guess surprising because it just like we're talking
It tracks.
a couple weeks ago, it was $7-8.
It tracks. It's a card that the assassins can play to just like be annoying for Enigma and a couple other matchups. Because in theory, it's just like 2 free damage out of like thin air, which is good. And the Rangers obviously like Azalea can play it because it's a pseudo reload if you're trying to play a little bit wider, right? And it has like very cool niche applications that
It
I think this meta that we're in right now has lined up very well for.
it can have some surprising offensive value because of
Yeah.
the way it rips a card from someone's hand, right? If they don't,
You're
if
right,
they
right.
don't
Yeah.
have an arsenal, you rip a card from someone's hand, and now they're down to 3 cards to block with, where you didn't really need to go too crazy. You just need to make sure that they give up like their entire hand, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
So, card's good.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
what did you say the price is for Codex of Blood Rot?
$20.
Okay, it's still a lot.
I mean, yeah, just it's slowly gone up. But yeah, I mean, it's a jungle out there. I mean, you might want to wait for things to settle. Even Ripple Away is shot up as well. So let things cool down for a bit. Things won't get announced. Some things will settle back down. Speculate where you want. But things that have already went up, or I would stay away from potential specs unless you think they're really going to jump. I don't know. I'm buying a bunch of Brave Forge bracers and those coats, so I'm waiting.
So,
I'd be careful on equipment since the new heroes are
Yep.
likely to get their own gear.
Yeah, that's fine. Brave Forge bracers at $20 is criminal for a Welcome to Wraith foil. Just criminal.
What does Courage of Blade hold at?
Not enough either. Not anywhere near where I think it should be. But
Oh, it says swords. Never mind.
yeah, no, 100%. If it said weapon
Okay.
attacks, it would be
All
we'd
right,
be
never
we'd
mind.
be cooking a little bit.
Oh, we'd be the full stop. The Lubu ripoff would be like just absolutely busted.
so let's talk about the Hunted, because we keep kind of referencing them. That's the
Yeah.
new,
Yeah.
The Hunted is the new set coming out. They spoiled it at Worlds, and it is introducing, like we all kind of predicted, a new wave of Draconic cards. We're getting a Draconic Warrior, named Fang. Yeah,
Fang.
Fang. I wasn't sure if that's the
Mhm.
ninja or the warrior. And then we're getting a Draconic Ninja named Syndra. You can check them out on Fabry. They've got most of the card art and stuff that was spoiled at the event. We get some new mechanics on top of Contract, because we're also getting an Assassin. We're getting a brand new Arachne. I don't know for sure if this is the Arachne that's in the set or if he's just a promo that you can get inside of the set. I don't know how much. We don't know a lot about what the Assassin cards are going to do in this set yet, right? We know something Assassin is going to be there because we've got cards that target the heroes in particular. But we got a in Elite speak, Arachne slipped through the cracks got spoiled. I really can't do justice to this card without you going and looking at it yourself. The art is absolutely fantastic.
It's
It's
remarkable.
It is absolutely sick.
New talent, Chaos, whatever that's going to mean. And very interesting. We didn't get the hero abilities of Syndra and Fang yet, but we did get the hero ability of Arachne slip through the cracks. He is a Chaos Assassin hero, 4 intellect, 38 health. The first attack with stealth each turn gets go again. Notable that it's the first attack with stealth, not your first attack with stealth. Meaning if you're facing other assassins that use stealth cards, their stealth cards get go again.
Ooh.
I don't know
And-
what the design position is here, but it's really funny. I guess it's because it's a Chaos hero.
Oh, dude. Those mirrors are going to be wild.
Not even the mirrors, like just Azuri. Like, okay, I'm gonna
I wanna
throw
know.
a stealth card. It's gotta go again. Okay, I'm gonna block it. All right, well, I'll throw another stealth card, and now I flip in this one.
I want to know why he's at 38 health.
Yes.
Because every time they do less health, there's a reason.
Well, I thought Arachne
Because free go again.
Solitary confinement was at 19 for limited reasons because he was able to be like solely balanced for limited. But this guy, like they
Hey.
took Arachne's tech box, they made it worse because now your opponents also get go again, and they gave him the same like life ratio. And so I want to know why.
Me too.
Got to be something with the talent, right?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be something. So yeah, with Chaos, like the Chaos has to probably have some really like detrimental but also beneficial drawbacks as to why you'd want to give your opponent stealth cards also go again? I don't know.
Well,
That's
Who knows?
It
But
could be the one thing that is not on Fabrary. It could be like, what is it, 6 or 7 alternate hero arts that also got spoiled for Arachne. They
there are
all have
so many
different
Arachnes.
names. They look like they all have different types, but they intentionally blurred out the bottom. There's some people are speculating that it says Evo there, but one of them is like clearly metrics. One of them has the name like Redback Widow, going back with the Redback Shroud stuff. So
Yeah.
who knows? Like one of my ideas was that they'll say if they're in your inventory at the start of the game, you could replace your hero with this hero, so that like you sit down and you don't know exactly which Arachne you're going to be facing. So I guess we'll see. But
Oh, that would be
We'll
wild.
find out.
I'm
There's
most
some-
excited. Sorry, go ahead.
I hope it's more of like a token situation than something that sits in your inventory, because as we found out with like knife swapping and having a demi hero, that it's like you now have less deck space slots, and if you're gonna have 6 Arachnes, that's a lot of deck space slots that you're taking up.
Well, you
But-
wouldn't do
But you wouldn't
6,
use
right?
all of them.
You would maybe
wouldn't have
only
to use
all
use
six.
like 3 or something.
We
yeah,
don't
yeah, no
know.
clue.
We
But
don't
speculation's
know.
fun. The art on all of them
Right.
is beautiful,
But-
so it'd be fun to run all of them, so you could have all these shiny cards
Exactly.
in your deck.
Which is why I want it to be like a token, so that way it's just like a thing that you carry.
Maybe it's like a dragon or an angel, and you do some
Yeah,
action and it
dual
flips
side.
over and your hero transforms into this new
Sure.
chaos hero.
I want to talk about fealty.
Okay, yeah, I think fealty is a pretty
the-
exciting card. The fealty token is instant. It's a draconic token aura. Instant, destroy this. The next card you play this turn is draconic. At the beginning of your end phase, if you haven't created a fealty token or played a draconic card this turn, destroy this.
So these things are crazy easy to keep around in a draconic deck, right?
Yep.
Like Brandis, just any ninja head jab turns this thing on immediately. They already wanted to play draconic cards, so that's good. So in theory, you get to just sit on a bunch of these things, and then just when it's time to do the turn trademark, where you need all the combo cards in the world, like imagine a spreading flame, like super simple without knowing any of the other cards in the card pool now, right? You could do like a spreading flames and have both parts of double strike see the spreading flames, because you just go fealty because you've just been sitting on a ton of these things.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's just a simple application, and it looks like the creating the fealty tokens doesn't come at like a point cost from like how the cards that make the fealty tokens are rated. It just seems to be like a thing that exists out of thin air, and that can do some pretty cool stuff. And that's like the only mechanic I'm really excited for in this set, besides Aurelia just being in
Well,
Flesh and Blood.
I think marked is kind of interesting too, right? Like this thing you have
I
to
don't know
set
enough
up ahead.
about Marked.
Marked is another status effect or token or
Yeah.
aura. You once you become marked, you have this like effect on you until the next time the opponent hits you. And you
Yeah,
have
I
cards
just-
that say if the opponent was marked, do this thing when you hit them.
Yeah, I just don't know about those yet. I really don't. They seem cool.
we need more interaction cards.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I'm
That
sure
might
there will
be.
be bonuses.
I mean, we could look at just one of them that said it's a 1-for-5 that says when this attacks, if it's draconic, it gets if this hits a hero, destroy all cards in their arsenal. So we're combining both the fealty and the marked mechanic into a single card effect. And that's Art of the Dragon Claw, by the way.
Oh yeah.
We've got some other interesting mechanics, like cards that were clearly designed for limited, like they're like almost unplayable otherwise. Like Defang the Dragon, Extinguish the Flames. These are assassin cards that say contract. You are contracted to hit a marked hero named Fang. Whenever you complete this contract, draw a card. Absolutely
Doesn't it also
bizarre.
have stealth?
It has stealth as well. It is a stealth attack.
It's
It has
such
stealth
cool
and contract
art.
on the same card.
The art
So
is
that's going to be a
just-
continuing thing.
Yeah,
So-
Yeah, the art's
it's
so
such a
good,
cool
so-
card.
I just like this card is basically they've kind of said, hey, I think we probably have a good like stack of stealth cards in the game. They're all really good. Let's print stealth cards that are going to make limited really fun, and let's do these cards that only work in a limited space, which I'm completely down for. I think it's fine.
And contract's a mechanic that they've kind of like siloed off, because if you make a contract card too good, read Leave No Witnesses and Surgical Extraction, they just get ran by the other heroes, right?
Mhm.
So if you're trying to make something for Arachne, they kind of have to double dip the other direction, because now they've printed a lot of really good stealth support. So it's like they have to like. I'm assuming New Arachne is going to end up playing Justinek because that card's crazy.
Are these the first
Yes,
stealth
course.
cards with contract on them?
Yes,
Yes. Yes, they are.
That's interesting too.
they are.
Okay. I want to talk about tarantula toxin now. Let's get to that one.
Hold on.
Uh,
One more. I want to talk about the particular mechanics and limited, and then we'll get into like generally talking about the set. But I wanted to talk about Proclaim Vengeance, which is a zero cost red draconic instant that says mark a target opposing hero. If that hero is Arachne, gain a resource.
And it's an instant. So when you're drafting this thing, that's like high risk, high reward situation in my brain.
Well, I mean
it's
you're hoping that you face Arachnes.
right.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's like a high risk, high reward situation. Because I don't know, what if the mark payoffs are crazy?
Yes, the mark payoffs are crazy. We don't know what rarity they are. All right.
Yeah.
I've released you. Let's talk about Tarantula Toxin, because I feel like you hinted at there's an assassin card you really wanted to talk about earlier.
Okay. I don't have it pulled up. Do you have it pulled up?
Yes.
So you can read it?
Yeah, I got
Okay,
it.
go ahead and read it for me.
It's a zero cost assassin attack reaction, red, block 3. Choose one or both. Target dagger attack gets +3, or target card defending an attack with stealth gets -3 defense this turn.
And it's a zero cost.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. Like, I think
Everything
it's a
good.
I
Okay.
mean, it's. Go ahead.
It's the choose both for me.
Yeah.
Because that strongly implies that there's going to be a dagger with stealth. And if that is not a talented dagger, that is going to crack New in half.
Oh, that's a new dagger.
If it's a dagger with stealth and it can turn on New's hero ability every time she swings the dagger, that is going to crack her in half.
No, don't do that to me.
Oh, come on.
Don't do that to me.
What-
Dude,
Can you
Okay.
imagine how good that's going to be?
If it's a 2-for-1 and that's the only text on it, is it good?
It's got to have go again. I mean, if it's a 2-for-1 with
it
go
does
again,
not have to have go again, because maybe Arachne gives it go again.
First card with stealth.
Right.
But it could be a finisher, right? Like,
I
but we'll
mean,
see.
no.
No.
If it doesn't have
Yeah.
go again, it's not good.
If it's not disruptive and it's not being proactive, yeah, you're not playing that dagger.
I mean, that's still. I still need 3, even without the dagger that is strongly hinted at. I still need 3 of that card
The
because it's going to be
versatility
fantastic.
of this card, even if you don't get to game break it with like essentially getting 6 on a dagger for 0, is that like you could push through a spider's bite that someone thought they were blocking through, or you can just,
Or you can push
they
through a misplay.
disrespect, they just disrespect it and they're at 4 and you just kill them.
Yeah, I mean, it is everything good about Razor Reflex, but also everything that's good about having stealth cards. I mean, it is just so good.
It's either yellow shred or cut to the chase, right?
Yes, on a single card.
Yeah, or like both of those cards kind of saw play because both of them were like only okay.
I would say that you the one downside to it is you kind of have to determine how you need to use it immediately, right? Because the dagger comes before the stealth attack. So do you need to try to confirm the dagger hit, or are you going to use it on the stealth? So there's a choice you have to make as the player of the card as well, right?
I mean, that's kind of what Assassin does, though. I mean, it's
Yeah, you're
the
forking them.
toolbox
So, like-
class. I
Right.
mean, you have a little bit of everything for a little bit of everything. It's there's so many decision points in the Assassins. It's
So
crazy. So what's one more?
somebody throws a spider's bite at you. They have 2 cards left in hand. Tunic up, right? that just can put you in a total blender because it's like, oh, well, this could be if I block the spider's bite here. There's a CNC usually coming, right? So you block the spider's bite, then you block the CNC. Well, now that you blocked the spider's bite, okay, they pump it. Now you use Tunic CNC, and you're just hosed.
Yep, that is actually brutal.
Like that's
I need
awful.
3. I'm gonna need 3.
I-
And I want that promo because that art. Oh my goodness.
It's good art. So, yeah,
It's gonna be good.
All right, Noah, your turn. Jagged Edge.
Right.
It's a 1-for-3, a 1 cost red block 3 warrior attack reaction. Target weapon attack gets +3, and damage this would deal can't be prevented. Are you back in the Dawnblade Dory? Is this bringing you back to it?
So if it was 0 cost, right, I think it would be like
Okay, no way. There's
Yeah.
just no way it can be 0 cost. Like
I
Iron
think
Song
it should be-
response.
I think it
that's
should
think it
just
should
be
be
always
zero.
on.
I think it should just be 0 because like
I think it should be 0.
the problem is that Dory already struggles with what we call hand extension. She's always struggled with that. So you get a different tool to use, and so yes, it adds another, well, what if it's this to the list, but it doesn't solve the fact that it doesn't have reprise on it. Oh,
No.
so
No.
it's not reprise dependent at least, which is nice.
Exactly.
But you still can't search it with singing, so you have to have it naturally at the right time, because you're not going to get reprise usually from Enigma in some of the serious cases. Or she's just going to try and deny your reprise, which I think is just the bigger thing. It does cost 1, so you're kind of limited. If you start like a Warrior's Valor plus that, then if you know that to play, and then you swing, so you're going 6 on 9. I don't know. It's
It should
good.
cost 0.
If it costs 0, I think it is better stonks, and Dory becomes a little more in the question. I don't think it still fixes the problem that Dory has, which the damage is predictable. It's got a top end, and it's really hard to go wide in that deck outside of some like weird twinning supremacy 3 swing turns, which you just usually just try and deny if you're playing against Dory. But our biggest matchup problem is Enigma, so I mean it is damage prevention. I guess
I think the card's
Burdens or any of the other heroes. I mean, again, amazing toolbox, way better than like commanding performance, which you just didn't block it anyway, and then you never lost your arsenal. So and it's a reaction. We like reactions.
And it's +3 instead of +1, so it can't just be blocked with a single defense reaction like Chorus of Iron
Right.
Song.
Right. So it feels good. I mean, it does feel good. I hope there's other fixes, and I don't mean that in terms of like how do we get around it, like how do I extend my turn as Dawnblade Dory. And I know in some cases that might be thinking about it wrong, but every deck right now in the meta has a kind of like an ebb and a flow, or like a setup, and I know it all speaks a little differently, but there's usually game plans like Aurora is going to take a turn or two to set up like a turn, and then they're going to spill over,
And she can ebb and flow.
and Dory can, but like I don't get hand extension. I don't get to do Channel of Millennium, Light and Valley, whatever, on your turn shenanigans with a ping from Sigil of Suffering, and then hit on my turn, and then throw like an E strike and get to go again, plus to draw a card. Like I don't get to extend and draw outside of like Supremacy, but I'm still very pigeonholed on did that weapon hit and do I have go again? And like it's rough.
Yeah, I'm not like the warrior player, but weirdly we all have a bunch of warrior players in our lives, and every other deck is able to function on a blue pitch per turn and do 4 cards offensively, right? If I'm spending 1 resource on Dawnblade, spending another resource on Dawnblade again, and I'm spending 1 resource on a way to give it go again, right? Because typically it's a Warrior's Valor or a Run Through or Glimpse of Zero, but the rest of them are ones. Right?
Spoils 1, yeah, all ones.
Yeah.
All 1 ones, yeah.
Then I need my pumps to be zeros.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's kind of why it's a weird spot. It's almost going to force you to have to play Goblet, but then you're on Goblet turns, which like you need to be ending with like, did I block out efficiently and I'm just playing Goblet Pass? Because that like feels bad. It puts Grains at a higher rating in terms of trying to pitch in, but then it also makes Dory want to play like an ebb and flow game, and I just don't know that she gets enough pressure across playing that way, because it's just damage at the end of the turn.
And then if you're ebbing,
there are no on hits.
And then if you're ebbing and flowing, all right, I did my big turn, I draw my next hand, I can't function and possibly get my swings off. You
lose your counters.
Right.
Yeah,
right, and then you lose your counters. And so
and like the pumps being a 0 for 3, right? We are so used to 0 for 3s at this point. Right? I know it's at reaction speed. I know that's a big deal.
Reaction speed 0 for 3s are a very scary thing to have in the game.
Well,
right?
they just gave an assassin a double whammy 0 to 3.
Okay, let's talk about like Justinik, right? No, let's just
That
talk about
card's super
Justinik.
conditional. Yes.
I'm
it's
talking about
super
Tarantula
conditional.
Toxin, and that thing is a 0 for 6 because it can
is
also Pleasure Dagger and minus a card off of the stealth.
That is not the same thing. If you've ever played into the end game with things like Shred, and you just go no blocks, and they go, man, these shreds are super bad.
They
Yeah,
really are.
But it's still 3. So they don't
No,
block it. It's plus
not.
3. They block
Okay,
it. It's
no.
fine.
Yes, the dagger does the plus 3, but the dagger usually, if you're not blocking the stealth card, you don't care what the dagger did to you. Whatever, like.
No, the point that he's making, that I'm thinking, is like, all right, we're in a late game, right? So now we have a dagger. They have to look at it and be like, man, I have to play around this 0-cost tarantula toxin at all times.
All right.
So I have to block this first dagger, and then they come in with the second one. It's like, oh, I have to block this one as well if I'm at 3 or whatever. Where like a Dawnblade Dory pitches a red or a blue, or like a red or a yellow, and now it's like, well, I know exactly what they're doing.
Well, if Dawnblade didn't have text on it, if it was just a 1-for-3 sword that like, what the other Dawnblade, the Resplendent, just says the second time you swing with it gets +1.
Yeah.
Then I don't think there's a problem with 0-cost 3 pumps. The fact that you have this infinitely scaling weapon, you have to be careful with the amount of hand that you could throw into it. We can't be like Azalea where you're like pump, 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 swing. Like,
you definitely have to be careful. I will give you that. I'm telling you, there is a very fine line they have to run with the way that Dorinthia works. Otherwise, everybody will just, you might as well play it because the value is just insane on that weapon. Once it gets +1 or +2, if you can keep the steam going, good luck. You'll never block it out.
If you've ever been hit by 2 or 3 blade flurries in a single turn, that's exactly what you know. That's like, you can't have that deck full of that.
Dory tilts the crap out of me. I just like if we put them in a situation where they can have it, they will have it against me. Like if you play Dory against me, you will draw it. Congratulations. But like that deck hasn't been good for a long time, and that's like a beloved deck, like by a lot of people.
I think the Hunted will bring some cards back, and I think the Hunted. I kind of like doomed on it a little bit because we just got assassin cards, we just got ninja cards, we even recently got warrior cards, but I am okay with them still bringing up those heroes. I am a little like they printed a draconic ninja when they could just buff up Phi. They're printing a draconic warrior when they could just bring up 3 warriors who are all struggling, including a 4th maybe talented warrior who's struggling.
I don't know.
The thing about Phi is that he won Worlds last year.
And he's going to LL
so
now.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, he's gone.
So they can't just buff up Phi with this whole new set full of support and not have a new Draconic Ninja ready to have the Draconic Ninja part in the format.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like, and maybe we could talk about this if we have time, that do you ever think Fab's going to hit a critical threshold of new heroes they bring out that they just couldn't possibly
I think they're already there.
Yeah,
they're way past it.
I used to think this would be a good thing, right? Okay, so let's get some new heroes and introduce them, and like that's cool. You add variety, but if your entire game plan and strategy is to make new heroes viable in some sense that they can come in and have a shot at the meta, you will continuously squish the top down until it becomes really hard to bring the bottom back up without some kind of crazy shakeup. But then why do that instead of just making the older, like let the older heroes have their time? Because we've had 2 new warriors and we still can't play the other warrior. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. Like
we printed 12 new CC heroes this past year and rotated 1.
That's too, like,
it's a lot.
They gotta stop. I think there needs to be sets that don't bring new heroes. We just play old heroes in a different limited style.
Still no
and I think that's what it should
untalented
be.
heroes have hit Living Legend, which is also notable.
Yeah, barely though. But that's its own weird
Dash
thing.
is getting close.
Yeah,
so,
but she's not picking up
it's
points.
It scares me.
Right.
That scares me a little bit just to think about that.
This is going to be a long episode. If
we can talk about all that more next week.
Worlds at all, because I'm not cutting the stream until we
gotta
talk about some of the most amazing flesh and blood we've ever seen. And what's crazy is my favorite moment of the entire weekend happened in the first game. You have the current Pro Tour champ Shoma on Viserai getting dog pounded by an Azalea. It's just bad beat after bad beat. Red in the ledger, red in the ledger, red in the ledger. Dominated judge, jury, executioner with inertia on it. It's just all of the worst things you could think happening to a Viserai. And you're just like, God, Shoma's getting destroyed. What's up with the Pro Tour champ? Like, how's he getting high rolled this hard? Pro Tour champs don't get high rolled. And then you're just like, he's keeping life parity. he's actually in this game. And then
Yep.
you look at it and he like goes to 1 and he's got a Bloodrock Pox token and you're like, what's his arsenal? What's in his arsenal? And he builds up a whole bunch of rune chants and its ninth blade comes out and you're just like, oh, it's birthday cake, let's go. And like, dude, it's so hype. And like, everyone's just like, does Azalea have it? Azalea needs a blue and at least 1 3-block to survive here. And she happened to have 1 blue and 1 3-block and 2 2-blocks and exactly survived at 1. And then Judge calls time in the round. Turn 0 and Shoma points at the Bloodrock Pox token and says, I'm dead. It played like a final almost. It was just such a wonderful game.
That's cool.
And that started it off.
Oh man,
Yeah.
and what a master of the game Shoma is. Like, if
Yeah.
I watched that game, I have no clue how he managed to maintain parity when he was getting pummeled that badly. It was just wild.
I mean, that's a Pro Tour champion. I mean,
I love the Yuki Pablo game. Like, she did so, like, that game was so good on so many levels. And I know Pablo,
it was
like,
a wonderful game. And yeah,
Pablo, like, I know Pablo punted a point of value, but that's only if you know there's a max V.
No,
right?
It doesn't matter. What's the other scenario? It doesn't matter what the. Okay,
Like,
it could
yeah,
matter
but, like,
if the game's going to go on another turn, but Yuki
Yes.
had no cards left. It was literally the last card in her deck was her arsenal.
yeah, and like, I know that he punted the point of value, and I know that's like a bit of a bummer, but that's also a player playing to like their outs and like seeing Yuki like in real time realize that she's like, well, I need him to miss block. And then when she saw the miss block, just seeing her go like completely stone cold and not like react to it at all was like, oh, well, I was like, I would have freaked out right then. I would have been so fast to play my next card.
Dude, and then like Pablo, like when it finally came out, he did like the Drake laptop meme where he's just like, oh man, no.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, he
Because
just
he knew
knew.
as soon as the max V laid out, he's just like,
Yeah.
oh god.
No, he knew on the
God.
processor. He knew when she drew, like when she drew off the processor, he was just like, oh god. He like you could see it immediately. It was awesome. But like that game was insane. That game was so good. There was a lot of really, really good games. There were some absolute war crimes that we had to watch.
Oh, like the
And-
backup game in the last round of Swiss with Sam Sutherland taking the legendary like 33-minute 50-second turn with Dash
That
IO.
was, if you're a Yu-Gi-Oh fan, you loved that turn. Everybody else hated that turn.
Oh man,
I
I was
hated
loving
that
it.
turn.
Dude, he
Like-
played every Spark of Genius, every Cerebellum, every High Octane, and every System Reset on a single turn, drew almost 30 cards, took an enormous number of game actions, probably saw his entire deck a time and a half. Like,
It's gross.
we don't have time to explain the full combo, but just imagine being able to opt like 25 cards.
Yeah, no, it was gross. I did not like that turn personally. But like if you're into that, and like I play Kano, like I'm
That's
used to
what
like the
saying. This is coming from the Kano player.
I like degenerate combos, but the thing about the Kano combo is if you're a Kano player, you should be able to get that thing done in less than 2 minutes. Right? Like their death is quick and efficient. You spend more time thinking about the setup, but like once you draw the hand, you just sit up straight and you do the thing. But like and like degenerate combos are fun. Like don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to like poo-poo on degenerate combos. I'm poo-pooing on a 33-minute degenerate combo.
It kind of strays away from that incremental gains made over. You know what I mean? Because like
Not
all your
kind of,
gains
it
are
does.
made in that 33-minute span.
No.
And hold on, and I know what you're. There is a setup. There is a like a methodological process that goes into that as well.
Okay, there was a lot leading up to that turn because that happened on turn 6, I think, and this is against Matt Rogers on CYB Enigma, and he said, "I'm going to give you 6 turns of space. I'm going to gain a little bit of life and offer almost no disruption." And he's like, "Bet I'll intellect penalty myself with a system reset and a high octane in my arsenal over and over again until it lines up." And if you build a deck that isn't going to threaten your opponent and you get blown up by a combo deck, that's on you. Like,
I agree.
I
That
can
part
agree
I
with that
agree
too.
with.
No,
yeah,
I,
that's fair.
That part
I-
I agree with.
because
It's just an excessive turn.
It did not happen to Michael Hamilton. Michael Hamilton in top 8 said, "All those system resets, get them out of here." And
But
then,
that's a different deck
and
with,
then
with
Sam
actual
Sutherland,
built-in disruption, though.
and then
Yeah, so we gotta talk.
well,
We got.
Enigma has disruption.
We're gonna talk. Well, that version that Rogers and them were on did not. They were
Yes,
really just playing the CNC, and that's about it.
which
But
is a choice.
yes, it is a choice. But hey, the person who just won won Worlds, I don't think they even ran CNC.
They did because
They
they double
did?
blocked the CNC at the end. Yeah, they ran.
The CNC killed
I'm
the
almost-
poison the well.
Yeah, the CNC killed
Oh,
the
yeah,
poison
that's
the well.
right.
Yeah.
All right.
No, that's-
Quick breakdown of what top 8 was, or actually a quick breakdown of what the meta was.
right.
Yeah, start there.
Enigma, Aurora, Dash.io, Nu, Viscerai, Zen, Florian, Azalea. I think we called it in our last podcast. Maybe we overrepresented Azalea, but I think when I was talking to a lot of people, they're just like, how are there only 18 Azaleas? It's crazy. But
Because everything else was also good.
I think we like almost basically nailed the meta.
And this
Yeah,
was
there's-
this is a pretty straightforward one to call. I don't
Mhm.
like.
Yeah.
I do think that Zen was a deck, and I wasn't able to get on the pod last week to talk about it. I think Zen was a deck that, like, if the tournament happened 2 weeks earlier, Zen would have been an insane pick, and he probably wins. And he did win the calling, so he's like a good deck.
Mhm.
But it was as the weeks went along with Zen, people were very quickly finding out like the weaknesses with that deck, and just like, oh, I don't play. It's not an aggro deck, and if you treat it like an aggro deck, it will win. But if you properly identify it as like this anti-aggro thing, playing wax on, wax off, and all that kind of nonsense, and you understand like, oh, I like how to play against that, you're fine.
Mhm.
So yeah, you like your top decks, Nu, Enigma, Aurora, Viscerai, all showed up and did very well.
With Dash.io was third most represented.
Oh yeah, and Dash.io.
I
Yeah,
feel like
Dash.io,
though
Dash.io.
the weird stuff must have happened. I think people started downplaying Dash.io as being too inconsistent, as there being really good counterplay because she really fumbles to Warmonger's Diplomacy and Dense Blue Mist. However, I think that had this like reverse game of chicken effect where I don't think I saw a single Dense Blue Mist anywhere. I don't think
So-
people were on it.
I think a lot of people were deciding that like you can host Dash.io if you want to, but then they realized, wait, there's a rest of the tournament to play.
Mm-hmm.
And like, what is Dense Blue Mist doing against Aurora? What is Dense Blue Mist doing in the mirror? What is Dense Blue Mist doing against against Viscerai? There we go, that one. Right? And people were terrified of Viscerai.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I was
Rightfully
in
so.
Japan.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, when I was in Japan, like talking with people there, like at that armory, everyone was just like, yeah, I don't know, but there's this Viscerai build. Like it was always there's this Viscerai build. And that was the one thing that everyone was just like, we don't know what the heck we're looking at in that deck. So, I think it was eventually you had to decide how much respect you actually wanted to give Dio and play a normal meta at that point, right?
Or just play Counter Blessings.
Or just play Counter Blessings.
I
All right,
mean-
can we get that card out of this game?
Yes.
Can we get it out?
Yeah.
Can we get it out?
I think a lot of people have repeated this across the Twitter space and the Fab space and all the spaces that Count Your Blessings isn't a card that's problematic in the way you approach games. It's problematic in the way it lengthens a game to almost guaranteed to go to the 49th minute and 59th second every single time, and will often go beyond that.
It's problematic in how it's...
Yeah, it's too much health gain in a single deck, and you could play against it. There are counters, but like no one wants every game to go to the max minutes. And then you look at top eights and stuff, it's really bad in top eights. Didn't the Battle Harden like almost get threatened to not be completed because some of the games
Yeah, it was
were
a
so
Country
long?
Blessings old him. It was a Country Blessings old him in the finals, and depending on who you talk to, the reason why the finals didn't happen is a bunch of different reasons. But the first round that the CYB Oldham had in Top Cut was a 2-hour game, like full stop. Yeah,
That's crazy.
and then after that 2-hour game, it was a Guardian Mirror. Like, what are we doing here? So, I don't like Country Blessings. I don't think I've ever liked it on this show. It like for example, Counter Blessings new being, and there was plenty of normal new in the top 32. So like
Mm-hmm.
I want to make that like amply clear. Like this is not like the only way to play new, right? But CYB new, and just like that even being a deck that can play CYB and turning it into like a true fatigue deck, I don't like that being an option. I don't like how much it pressures decks in sideboarding. I understand that we are stretching decks thin already in a lot of directions. It is hard to respect it. And you can even see a deck that is respecting it with 2 Poison the Wells, 3 Flicker Wisps, the full combo set up, right? Can still stumble to this deck because at the end of the day, it is too much life gain at some point. And that's like if you fully, it's not the CYB itself that's the issue. It's it being able to be paired with Sink Below, Fate Foreseen, Oasis Respite, Sigil of Solace if you want to. And so then you have to decide which defensive tools are we going to keep.
Which the world champion did.
Yes. And he figured out how to get around Poison the Well by using Oasis Respite to eat the life trigger.
Mm-hmm.
And so like if that's what we're doing, that's not fun.
A quick breakdown of top 8, and I do want to talk about, especially talk
Yeah.
about the finals. Was Rob Canton on Aurora, Gregors Kowalski on Enigma, Alan Lau on Dash.io, Noah Begelman on Viserai, Michael Hamilton on New, specifically a pretty cool CYB New. I actually like Michael Hamilton's list a lot. Sam Sutherland on Dash.io, Mercy Bickel on Aurora, and Valentin Mackel on Enigma. So we had 2 Enigmas, 2 Dash.ios, 2 Auroras, a New, and a Viserai. Pretty diverse set of playstyles, not necessarily a diverse set of heroes, but I think the top 8 was pretty exciting, except for some of the games got dragged out a bit. And it was really the Aurora versus Enigma ones that got dragged out, right? Round 1, top 8, I think went very, very
Every bit
long.
of 90 minutes.
Yep.
It was every bit
Yeah.
of 90 minutes.
And that
And
was Gregors.
the game losing play was Rob Catton decided at some point to do an E-Strike for 5 draw a card when he should have done 7. And that's like, he took 19 turns for that to be, like once that happened, I was watching it with a friend and I was like, oh, this is deterministic lethal in the other direction. Like he can't kill him now. He doesn't have enough actual damage in his deck.
Mm-hmm.
And
Let's see. I think the Alan Lau versus Noah Begelman game was just a generic aggro mirror. They kind of just punched each other in the face until Alan barely came out on top. The Michael Hamilton versus Sam Sutherland game was legendary.
That was fantastic.
that game was awesome. I want to talk more about that Begelman game
Mm-hmm.
because Begelman was fatiguing News and Swiss. That was their game plan. And they knew about that. So it was really funny seeing Begelman try to retrofit his deck because he still played like the Haunting renditions and he played the Reduced to Rune Chance and all those kind of cards in the matchup. But it was really cool seeing him trying to like pivot and change his deck's game plan in top 8 to do something that it wasn't really built to do in that matchup and still like almost get there. To me, that was really, really cool.
I think it was pretty heads up too, because I think there was someone talking about that Noah knew that Alan Lau's deck wasn't typically fatigable without life gain. And so he wanted to say, I'm going to pivot and he's going to present a pack of like, you know, just a ton of cards, 68 cards, and it's going to thin his threats down some. I'm just going to punch him in the face and try to kill him. I'm going to have the good value cards like Reduce, but
yeah, it was like Alan presented the full deck because like I saw Tekla Pounder again, and like Thomas and I have talked about this a bunch about like Tekla Pounder and the aggro decks or like attacky decks, and we're just like, why do people keep doing it? And then someone was like, oh yeah, he played the whole deck because Begelman was fatiguing News in Swiss. And I was like, oh well, yeah, if you're doing that, that makes sense.
it's interesting because there are just some decks that do that to you, and I want to say it's decks that have disruptive headpieces. Because against KO, you have to like run the stack, right? Because you're going to lose a power turn to flashback, and then the rune blades, you got to run the stack a lot of times because you're going to lose a power turn to the face purgatory.
Interesting. But yeah, but onto the legendary Sam game.
The Sam Sutherland versus Michael Hamilton game was legendary. Dude, I don't even know what Sam was thinking when he's just said no blocks to the Spawns of Agony. And now in retrospect, maybe it was bait.
No, he was not expecting Michael to pop both of his equipment, but he was baiting out the possibility that he didn't have enough reactions because there's a deck building cost to using Count Your Blessings, especially in new when you're looking for a balance between stealth attacks and reactions. You're also trying to throw in 9 copies of an instant that doesn't actually do anything to disrupt your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where his gamble was he was like the casters were saying on stream, he was taking a risk that he didn't think Michael had the disruptor, had the pumps and had the reactions in order to activate the bots.
So
And
we've
also,
looked.
he had not gotten value off of either one of his equipment pieces yet, so it was less likely that he would. But then he went ahead and did it, which it
And
turns
that,
out was a mistake.
that was him bucking a Hamilton trend, right? Because we all know Hamilton's like the math guy, right? And like the
Mm-hmm.
value guy. And it's like, oh, he wouldn't give up just 2 points of value, right? Surely he wouldn't just give up 2 points of value, right? And we looked through the deck lists, right? And try to find where like the counter blessings come from. It comes from E Strike, some Chi, and then like a blue stealth flex slot is what one of my other assassin buddies kind of figured out. Because you still have the full play set of reactions. So it was really cool seeing Hamilton go against like his normal trend though, of like, oh yeah, no, he's always going to like max value everything and snipe these system resets, which I don't know. I don't know if that was right or wrong in the long term,
He did
but
snipe them out, and I know everyone
yeah.
like everyone was saying there's just no way he can't have. That's like how he built his deck to get past CYB decks, and New is already a tougher matchup than CYB Enigma is for Dash IO in a lot of ways, but you just see Sam just taking these excellent game actions turn after turn, and the thing is we have this extra information. We get to see most of Michael Hamilton's hand. We've got the casters talking. They've seen things that we maybe missed while players drawing cards. We have a lot of extra information, right? We get to see what both players are doing, and we're not stressed out sitting in top 8 of Worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
with like
Sam
what,
is
$8,000 on the line for that game, and then
Yeah.
75 for between finals and second place.
So Sam is consistently taking the most optimal turns without knowing the information to do it over and over again. Like the intellect penalties he's taking, if you know the information on the other side, they were 100% optimal over and over again. And you're just like, how is he doing it? How is he doing it? And then he wins.
It was brilliant.
Yeah, just a
It
brilliantly
was
played
absolutely
game.
brilliant.
It was really good. Yeah, he did great. Then his deck decided to say no whenever he played an Aurora.
Yep.
which-
Okay.
That's Dio.
We can talk about his doom because it literally was his deck saying no. He faced off against one of our American brethren, Mercy Bickel, on Aurora, and right off the bat, he's trying to get some value so that he can keep up with Aurora's value, and he says, "I'm going to activate Tekla Foundry Heart." He still had two. He had two Fast and Furious in his hand, right? He activates Tekla Foundry Heart, hits the card off the top, which I think was a high octane, right? And then he hits the second card, which was the red boom grenade.
Yeah, like you're just not winning like that.
And he proceeds to find nothing for the rest of the game. Doesn't hit anything off the top, doesn't land any power cards, just misses on value back and forth and back and forth. And if you looked at the deck order, if the deck order didn't change, like if he would have just boosted the Fast and Furious and trusted in his deck to put the boom grenade on top, he would have swung for 3. Opponent maybe blocks 3. He flashes in the boom grenade to turn on the Fast and Furious. Never digs the 2 cards deeper. And like you look at the deck order and he would have just very likely crushed. It was very painful to watch as the Foundry Heart just missed over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I slept through that game too. That's the downside of having a tournament on the other side of the planet.
I got to watch the whole thing, but it was definitely unfortunate that the deck decided not to do that. Although Mercy strung together some amazing turns.
Yes.
I mean, in
Mercy
terms
is
of
sick.
I mean, in terms of the way that deck was playing, like while Sam's may have been running like on empty, man, Mercy's deck was running hot on that game.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Things were lining up.
I think someone told me she pivoted to that deck like week of.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I remember seeing
I
that.
heard 2 days.
Yeah, it's like,
2 days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she like got like a couple days on it, and then Yuki and Emily Bird were the one that kind of taught her how to kind of play and gave her some pointers and stuff and refined the list. And I mean, absolutely just phenomenal performance.
Just a good Flesh and Blood player, right?
Yeah, shout out Ellie as well. That she
Oh, yeah.
is incredible at building decks. She comes up with some really clever ideas.
Our last semis was Gregors versus Alan Lau on Dash.io. Alan Lau on Dash.io, Gregors on Enigma. That came down really, really close. Surprisingly, like I think there's a way he could have won it. Alan could have won it, but he just didn't quite get there.
How not close was it, Justin, for your taste?
It's fake close. If to me, like
I know what you mean.
I've played like fatigue deck, like I've played Oldhim, right? And like I've thought a lot about fatigue and fatigue math, right? And it's like if you reach an end game state as the fatigue deck with more than 5 life, it was not close. And that's like the weird part about it, because then that's essentially you won with like 3 to 4 extra cards. And it's like a weird way to think about it, because like if you have a normal game that ends like 6-0, you're like, oh hell yeah, this was an awesome game. You know, like that's like still a close game and a good game. But whenever you're doing like you're deck checking people essentially to see how much damage they have, if they're within 4 damage or less, usually that's like, oh, that was actually close. Anything above that, I'm like, oh, okay, I wasn't even sweating.
Okay.
But that's me being a salty, like, fatigue hater. So,
Okay.
The Oldham player.
Now we're getting
Former
to.
Oldham
hey,
player.
I played pressure Oldhim, all right? I did not fatigue people. All right?
I think that game
threw
was
Frostfangs
a
and pummel.
good game. Let's get to the controversial game. Maybe not as controversial as the very first Aurora versus Enigma game because of how long that went. But I think the Gregors versus Mercy game. Ooh, man, that was tough to watch.
It was a painful game.
All I have to say is that I think if Mercy had a few more days where she could have maybe labbed against CYB Enigma, because I think she mentioned she had very few, if any, games that she'd gotten to play versus CYB Enigma. You saw her make some, I would say mistakes. It's hard to judge because she is the world's runner-up, but I think putting Poison the Well in Arsenal and then clearly pitching an Arc Lightning kind of tells your opponent for sure that that's your second Poison the Well, because it is open deck list. And
Yeah,
not bailing that card out. First of all, you shouldn't have put it in your arsenal. Aurora needs a 5-card hand to put enough threat across to really, get some damage through. And I think there was places, I think she missed some value on like turn 1 or something. I missed it too, so it wasn't on me. Someone else mentioned that she missed maybe like 2 or 3 value off of a sword swing on an early turn, and then missing just an enormous amount of value by locking up her arsenal, hoping that this poison was going to pay off. And then she draws a hands full of instants and gets command conquered.
She messaged a Discord that I'm in today, basically saying they realized what the game plan was on the flight home. And it was like one of those, like, she was like, describing it. It's like, oh, you know how like you have a shower thought sometimes, and you're like, oh, that's brilliant, and that would have won it for me. She's like, I had a shower thought for $75,000.
I know. Dude, just look at her draw order. If she would have not put Poison the Well in Arsenal, if she'd put a Flicker Wisp in Arsenal, right? She drew a hand with 2 Arc Lightnings.
Before the echoes came down, yeah.
That
I mean, that's
been
lucky.
That could have been Flicker Wisp, Arc Lightning, go. Like, ooh. But
Arc Flicker, Arc,
hindsight and all that stuff. Mercy is an incredible player. Just huge props to both players, because Gregor's played super tight the whole way through too.
Oh, I didn't realize this. He was like a finalist in like an MTG Pro Tour 6 years ago or something like that.
Yep.
And he finally won.
A world's finalist for MTG a few years ago.
He's a MTG vet. So welcome to the game and coming in and just crushing it.
It's pretty good. But him figuring out how to like solve the CYP problem of Poison the Well, right? Because everyone was like worried about that card, and I looked at the Oasis in the deck and I was like, that's a weird include. I don't understand it. And then you see it happen and you're like, oh, that's what it's doing.
Yep.
It's like double duty. It's so good.
Yeah,
you
it does
now
so
have
much.
4 cards in your deck that completely host Poison the Well, right? Homage to Ancestors and
Yeah.
three Oasis Respites.
Yeah. So it was good. And hey, if it is legal for a tournament and he decided to bring it and for all the money that was on the line, then yeah, I can't blame him for doing that.
Yeah, I have no ill will
I mean,
towards Gregor's
Yeah,
or
$100,000
CYB in general.
richer. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
good
just
for
a
him.
math centric deck. I mean, in terms of being able to outlive, and I mean, it has to play well too. I mean, obviously you see less CYBs or you see the wrong colors in certain areas, and maybe it goes a little different. And there's a little bit of a cost, but like, I feel like Aurora with extra practice would have put up a way better fight, obviously than
Oh, for
that.
sure.
And I think it was still a phenomenal game. I think everybody kind of just was over it when it was like when it looked like it was really over and it wasn't over, kind of a thing. I also just thought that that it kind of just ended abruptly, and I know it probably had gone really late, but like there was no real ceremony or anything like that, at least that we got to see, and so it was kind of a weird way to end Worlds.
I have a feeling that they zoomed. They gave Gregor's his interview and then like, good night guys, see ya.
we
Yeah,
didn't
they gotta get out of the venue.
we didn't get that even like the Shoma feel or like the like the feel, like I wish I would have seen some kind of
Yeah.
like stage.
Yeah,
I
I didn't
really
get to see
think
my
that would have
Jarl
solidified.
weapon.
And that's why CYB is going to
Yeah,
be
really.
banned, because they stole our Jarl reveal from us.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
why CYB is
I should
being
know my
banned.
weapon right now.
Weapon
Okay,
wear.
was that actually a thing, or was that just everybody memeing all weekend? Because I don't remember ever hearing that it was actually going to be revealed.
I
And
don't
I
know,
didn't
but I'm
watch the
here-
whole stream, so
I'm here for
they-
that.
are we memeing or are
No,
we serious?
when they revealed Jarl, someone asked Gottlieb about it, and he said you'll find out more at Worlds, and then we never found out more at Worlds.
It's a psyop.
I'm
It's
sad.
coming
So
later.
we're like, it's got to come at the last possible minute, right?
Where's my
And then
weapon?
someone saw the deck box and the deck and stuff
Yeah.
next to the world's trophy and said, "Oh, it's going to be the world's winner is going to reveal it." Yeah, it was a bit
Well,
of a
we never
meme.
got it.
That's all right. I'll get my
Jeez.
weapon eventually.
Yeah, and so will I, because like I said, I'm.
Yeah, you are. You're joining me.
Bring back
Yes,
ice.
I am.
Bring back
Yeah.
ice.
Ice is 6.
That's gonna be a nice hero to reckon with, man. That's gonna be a real weird one. Being
It will
able to
be.
just set aside a mangle and man, be interesting.
Now that I've played new for a little while and I've really come to enjoy the style of the disruptive deck, I really think I'm gonna like Ice on the other side of it. I didn't play Ice back when it was a thing because I was too much into my ninja phase. I'm
It's fun.
kind of feeling hypothermia these days, and that feels almost blasphemous. So
It's very fun.
it looks good. It looks cool.
Yeah. So get CYB out of here. That's my only notes. High Octane may or may not go. I don't really care about that one, but get CYB out of here.
Thomas, are you coming tomorrow?
I am not. I'm going to go vote, and then I'm going to go watch the Deer Hunter because they're in town tomorrow night.
Gotta find somebody that can let me borrow a few copies of Rosetta cards that I don't own yet.
Hey man, if you can stop on by, I'll hit you up while I'm still at work. I'll be sitting right here doing my job till 7:30. You want to just swing by beforehand? I can get them to you.
You know, you live on the other side of Atlanta for me, so
What are you doing with Rosetta cards, my guy?
I
Don't
wonder-
put those in new.
and
Could be anything.
nothing.
Could
Could
be
be anything. Could be.
anything.
Hey,
Could
hey,
even
it could
be a
even be a
boat.
boat. I mean,
Mm.
It could be a boat. I
I do love drawing
wonder
cards.
what it
Could be
is.
anything.
wonder if it's Florian.
yeah, no.
No.
Go ahead and spoil that. It's not.
No.
It's
Is it
not.
a-
It's not Florian.
Is it Aurora?
It's not Virgins either.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out.
All right, what else we got?
Oh, it's a
I think that's it.
Cilio.
I think that's it. Maybe a quick shout out to Peter Budensk, who won the Battle Hardened. If we didn't shout him, or the Calling, sorry, or the Battle
No,
Hardened.
he won the Battle Hardened.
He won the Battle Hardened.
Nicola Kramer
God.
won,
Legends.
won the Calling.
Yeah.
So quick
I
shout
know
out to
him
those
as
two
well.
guys. Great job.
And Yeah,
What
shout
heroes?
out Kramik won on Zen, Peter won on Kano and LL. But shout out Kramik on Zen. That dude is a ninja savant. Anybody who played Katsu back in the day or during like heavy meta, everybody went through him. He's like kind of everybody like the godfather of ninjas at this point. And the dude just plays them at such a high level. It doesn't matter the format. He just plays them and plays them well. He was winning with Katsu back when he sucked. Like he's so good.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Quick shout out to Mariano Alimas, who took Ira to top 8 in the very first tournament she was legal in. That's cool as hell.
Ira is floating around on Talishar right now. It'll be fun to see what people can
I
do
have like
with
a 0% win rate into that deck at the moment. I think it's hard to
Ira
beat her.
scares me.
talk about just such good value, but in value in such a way that there's no setup really involved. It's just I play my hand to the best value I can get, and wow, is it good.
Zephyr Needle can go to hell.
It can be really easy to get Zephyr Needle to 4, and a 4 Zephyr Needle's real hard to break. Almost impossible to break, actually.
Needle's pretty good.
10-foot tall and bulletproof.
There's some cards. Guardian of
I mean,
Shadow Realm too, I think.
That's
right?
a card that exists.
Or no,
in
Husk.
Flesh and Blood.
All right.
Husk. Are you gonna husk
We
a
don't-
needle?
We don't have Iris stats on Talishar.
I have definitely
Can we fix
husked the
this?
needle before.
I think if you don't want to take the repercussions of that needle hitting, you probably want to. But it's gonna be fun. Let's see what we can do. I've seen some kitty cat iras. I've seen some crazy things going around. So it'll be interesting to see what people come up, as well as I think the mid range and sort of not really fatiguey, but you know what I mean. Death by 1,000 cuts. It's real.
Classic Ira. Watching it this past weekend at the Ira event because I dropped by for a little bit. It was watching it in person. It looks much better than I think about it on paper.
Yeah,
It'll be
CNC
good.
for 7 is kind of not.
Not even that, just like Kadachi for 1, Kadachi for 2, and 205. Like take the tempo. Like that's crazy.
Kadachi
Yep.
for 1, Zephyr Needle for 3.
Yeah, into take the tempo versus an aggro deck. Like what do they do?
So
That's So
annoying.
much.
Yeah, it's just
Like,
the damage
really
just
8
chips.
damage, no matter with 2 cards, regardless of what you
8
got.
damage draw card if you let it hit.
8 damage, draw 2 cards if you let the take the tempo hit. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, and it's like it's on 3 chain link, so it's awkward to block, and you have to really focus on the 3rd chain link, and it's just so good. Like I'm seeing it in paper. I was actually impressed with Ira.
I think she's
Pretty
good.
excited.
Yeah, she's good.
I need
Okay.
to pick up one of those marvels.
Good luck with that.
All right, keep us from going into the 90th minute like the first round of top 8, please. Donnie, take us out of here.
All right, Justin, any socials you want to plug? Where can everybody find you, buddy?
Oh geez, Twitter is the one that sounds made up every time.
It's-
J_EBS5.
I was gonna say I
There
can
we
do
go.
it for you. I can see it on the
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah, it's that one. And then Blue Sky, Discord, everywhere else is Jebs05.
Ooh, Noah?
At Big Max Fab on Twitter and twitch.tv/BigMax. I will make a Blue Sky this week. I keep forgetting.
Okay.
Jump on it. It'll be Big
All right,
Max.
what about you, Thomas?
At Wet the System Fab on Twitter, at Wet the System on Blue Sky, Wet the System on Discord.
And I am Draco Hominus 87 everywhere. Social media is sold. I am on Discord, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. I mean, you're not going to find Draco Hominus on those two, but you'll you'll find me everywhere else. Probably can shout this out this week. I'm still writing for the owners of the Fabric website, but everything is moving over to Card Gamer now. So we're not going to be my articles aren't going to be on Fabric anymore. And the series that they want me to start writing is going to be a budget series, going over budget lists for heroes. So I am still working on my first article, and I'm trying to decide what my budget and everything is, and what the format is going to be, because I have a few ideas, but I haven't actually put pen to paper yet and actually started on it. But look for that coming soon on Card Gamer. I'm still going to be writing articles, and that is coming. Let's see. There's nothing else.
Not yet.
Good. Take care
All right.
of yourself. Stay blessed.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. We hope you enjoyed catching up with us this week, and if you did, subscribe or follow depending on where you found us to catch us again next time. Until then, take care of yourselves, and remember, we are all Siblings in Cardboard.
Now, you know you didn't get that Jarl weapon reveal, but you do have to reveal the card that gets discarded from Pummel. You got to do it. Be a sport, be a Matt Rogers. Give him the extra action points, and you don't have to reveal Plow on there, but you still got to put it on your... Just do it.